Hi, this is Ebonee Bailey from the In Crowd ATL, and we are here with a creative director, a stylist, a woman that knows how to put magic into everything she creates. Let's introduce Miss Kitara. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's good? I'm Kitara Amet, the goddess of Fyre, and this is In Crowd ATL.
So let's go ahead and get into it. So when I first got introduced to you, I automatically noticed that one, you're bright and you know how to just captivate a room. How do you introduce that into like you styling?
I would say that I like to stand out. I like to be the center of attention, and people who have stylists are paying people to make them that way. So I basically get paid to exchange my energy onto others so that they can kind of walk in the same light I guess I possess naturally.
And how did you even come up with this ability? You just know like what makes them look good, what's gonna make people stand out, what's gonna captivate people?
Well, I can say I've actually been into fashion like my whole life. Like ever since I was a kid, I actually started wearing boys' clothes because I was chubby and I felt like I just looked doper that way. Like guys accepted me more. I had like all guy friends because I dressed fresh. You feel me? Like I had Sean John. I had Fubu. You feel me? Like
trendy.
Fat. It's like I was on the had the Timbs. You feel me? Like I was a French ass motherfucker. You feel me? Like had the forces. You know, I'm from New York, so you gotta have the Timbs. You gotta have the forces. You feel me? Like and so that kind of like gave me some understanding of like a masculine way of fashion. And then once I started getting to like middle school and high school, especially high school, that's when I became more feminine. So I started getting into makeup. And I was doing like eyebrows for like $5 in the library.
Yes.
Shit. You feel me? It was
she
always
got
a
her
hustle. Always a hustler. You feel me?
Got you.
And so being able to experience both dynamics of myself kind of just like helped me, and trying to find my own forms of beauty at the same time. Cause like again, I started chubby, and that's when I was a lot more masculine. And then when I started to slim down, I became more feminine. So being able to understand those two dynamics and then use that to my benefit, like through my artistry, is definitely what kind of like answers your question.
One thing that I think is very interesting is the fact is you know how to not only dress but express yourself on both spectrums. So taking that in, how do you feel that that just not go into your styling? How do you go into like your creativity in general?
Well, I would say I graduated from Georgia State as a textiles major. Okay.
There we go.
Alumni. Panthers. You love it.
Okay.
But I originally started off as a marketing major because I was a business major in high school. But art has always been a part of my life. Even when I was in high school, me and my homegirl had a photography company where I did style, concept work, and she did photography.
That's amazing. In high school?
Yeah, in high school. Now at the same time I was doing makeup and all that stuff. And then when I got to Georgia State, I was in Panthers Allure, which is a fashion organization that they had there, my freshman and sophomore year while I was as a marketing major.
Okay.
And I was actually more interested in my after school life than my actual day-to-day school life.
And that's when you knew it was time for the transition?
Yeah. I actually took a semester off. It was like the most depressing part of my life. It really was, because I was like a dishwasher at Barcelona. And it was like a really cool experience because they really treated me like a motherfucking princess because I was like cute as fuck and I was like singing. They called me the songbird. I was like washing dishes and everything was organized because black women, we can do it all. We can do it.
We can do it all.
You feel me?
We can do it all.
And that allowed me to really understand what I wanted out of life. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I don't want to be in marketing anymore, or at least like not that portion. I got what I needed out of it, which was the information. But as experience and as expression level, where's my heart at? And so that depressional period kind of transformed me to wanting to do. I was like, at this point, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. And so I went back to school as a art major, and then got into the textiles program, and graduated with a bachelor's in fine arts. And my first exhibition was in Tokyo, Japan.
What?
And the first school exhibition, I won first prize. So I guess I am where I need to be. You feel me?
That's a blessing. And speaking of blessings, one thing I've noticed about goes on into your creativity, you have a lot of spiritual elements. Can you talk about how you feel like that's very important for you to express within everything that you do?
I have probably always considered myself a mystic, like my whole life for sure. Like all the like the Erykah Badu's, the India Aries, they kind of had these elements of African spirituality that kind of like connected me to a deeper truth of the world. I felt like I grew up in a Christian family, and nothing really kind of like made sense to me. Like even the Bible itself, like everything was kind of off. And then when I was in school, my niche was actually to study the history of my own genealogy through my practice. And so as a textiles major, I was specifically only focused on textiles that traced our history. And with that, I that's when I got a level of understanding for our even original belief systems, you know what I'm saying, which they consider spirituality, but to me, like Scientology is the physical manifestation of spirituality, is how we understand it. And so textiles uses some form of Scientology, and that's with numbers, that's with chemical dyes, that's with transitions. If you're taking a natural plant and you're making it into thread, fiber, if you're making it into a dye batch, like everything is kind of like universal. And that is how I came about into like getting into learning about EFIT. Because also Black culture, textile wise, is really tapped into its religious and spiritual beliefs.
Yeah.
Like how textiles are specific for initiations and rituals. You feel me? Like synchronology, which is like angel numbers, as like Trent would call it. You feel me? But synchronologies is how they would actually add in their processes of when they're doing things, and that's like how many threads they do. That's how many times they print something. You feel me? Yeah, it's literally in everything they do.
Now, somebody myself, I love African spirituality, so I like this whole thing just really blew my mind. And I want to ask, what do you want to do further with it?
Well, I am working on this clothing line called Kitara. That is Kitara House of Light. And it's really inspired by my series that I was working on when I was a textiles major at Georgia State. It was called Dimensions of a Do-Rag. And what it does is that it kind of took a simple do-rag pattern and it transformed it into a wearable sculpture. It's like wearable art. And the techniques and the materials that I use is definitely rooted in the history of Black culture throughout the diaspora. And that's kind of that inspiration, all that knowledge and skills that I've learned from that experience, I kind of going to implement into my clothing line. And high key is going to be implemented into everything I do outside of my fashion line, and it's going to be into my customizations that I'm going to do for styling. It's going to be like the essence of me, but for sure it's going to be coming out of my clothing line, for sure. Which drops 2021, y'all, so be looking out. It's going to be really fire. It's definitely going to be one of a kind, because you never met a bitch like me.
Come on. Black women in business, Black women doing our thing, all 2020 and 2021. So please go ahead and get ready for that. Go ahead and drop the social so they can go ahead and anticipate that.
All right. Well, again, I am Kitara Amet. That is the goddess of Fyre. You can follow me at shecool.af, because I am. And my stylist page is goddess of Fyre. And that's about the gist, you guys. You feel me? It was good.
Find her straight on Instagram. This is Ebonee Bailey from the In Crowd ATL with Miss Kitara, and we are out.